Welcome to Soothing History for Sleep. I'm your host, Carter Reed. Imagine, if you will, the warm glow of a fire flickering against the walls of an ancient dwelling nearly 10,000 years ago. The day's work is done, the meal has been shared, and now, in this tranquil twilight hour, a peculiar ritual begins. A clay pot is passed around, each person taking a careful sip from the concoction within. This is no ordinary drink, but an early form of beer, brewed from grains gathered from the wild. This seemingly mundane act was, in fact, a revolutionary moment in human history, for it is in those shared sips of ancient ale that we find the birth of communal drinking, a tradition that is carried on through the ages. Come, let's journey back in time, to a world where the art of getting drunk was just beginning to ferment. Our journey begins in the Fertile Crescent, a region in the Middle East that curves like a lean crescent moon between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers. It was here, in this cradle of civilization, that our ancestors first laid the foundation for societies as we know them today. The sun beats down relentlessly on the rich soil, nurturing wild emmer, einkorn, and barley, the grains that would become the cornerstone of their diet, and eventually their drink. Beneath these bountiful skies, the first villages began to take root. Small clusters of mud brick houses emerged, surrounded by fields of burgeoning crops. Imagine the warm scent of baking bread, carried on the breeze, blending with the earthy aroma of the fields. Picture the rhythmic thump of grain being ground into flour, the laughter of children playing in the narrow lanes, the hushed whispers of elders sharing tales as the sun dips below the horizon. As the day draws to a close, the villagers gather in the communal square. At the heart of this gathering, a large clay vat is placed, filled to the brim with a heady concoction of fermented grains. This golden brew, at once sweet and sour, is the culmination of their day's labor. As the pot is passed around, each sip seems to carry with it a sense of unity, a shared experience that binds them together. In this ancient society, drinking wasn't just a mere act of consumption, but a symbol of community and camaraderie. The process of brewing required cooperation, from the gathering of grains to the final step of fermentation. Thus, the act of drinking became a communal celebration, a tribute to their collective labor. Their belief systems, too, were intertwined with this practice. The intoxicating effect of the brew was often associated with divine intervention. The villagers believed that the act of drinking allowed them to communicate with the deities, to seek guidance, and to gain wisdom. These early interpretations of the brew's effects perhaps laid the foundation for the sacred role that alcohol would play in various cultures across the world. As the firelight dances across their faces, casting long, flickering shadows, we can almost hear the echoes of their laughter, the shared stories, the ritualistic chants. This was the world where our ancient ancestors learned the art of getting drunk, a practice that would evolve and spread, shaping societies and civilizations for millennia to come. In the year 1957, within the arid expanse of the Zagros Mountains in northwestern Iran, a group of archaeologists made a fascinating discovery. They were led by the notable American archaeologist Robert Braidwood, a man whose curiosity about the past had drawn him to the cradle of civilization. As their shovels scraped against the parched earth, they uncovered a Neolithic settlement known as Jarmo. The remnants of mud brick houses, stone tools, and pottery shards painted a vivid picture of a society that thrived around 7,000 years ago. Among these relics, they found a peculiar set of vessels. These clay jars, with their bulbous bodies and narrow mouths, were unlike any other utensils found at the site. Braidwood, intrigued by these unique artifacts, sent them to his colleague, chemist and archaeologist Dr. Robert McGovern for further analysis. Dr. McGovern, working within the sterile confines of his laboratory, soon discovered a yellowish residue on the inside of the jars. After meticulous testing, he found that the residue contained traces of tartaric acid, a compound typically found in fermented grains and fruits. This finding suggested that the vessels had once held a fermented beverage, a primitive form of beer or wine. This discovery, one of the earliest evidences of alcohol production, offers intriguing insights into the drinking habits of our ancient ancestors. The presence of these fermentation vessels in a domestic setting implies that brewing was a common household activity. The size and shape of the vessels suggest that the beverage was likely shared among the community, a testament to the communal nature of drinking. The residue analysis also revealed the presence of honey, fruit, and various types of grains, indicating that the ancient inhabitants of Jarmo were experimenting with different ingredients and flavors. This level of complexity in their brewing process hints at a culture that not only drank for sustenance or ritualistic purposes, but also appreciated the sensory experience of drinking. As we delve deeper into the past, we see our ancestors not as primitive beings, but as complex individuals who shared our penchant for the finer things in life. They too savored the sweetness of honey, the tang of fermented grains, the laughter and camaraderie that came with sharing a good drink. It's a poignant reminder that the art of getting drunk, in all its messy, joyful complexity, has been a part of us since the dawn of civilization. The discovery of these ancient fermentation vessels, their contents, and their context, brings forth a narrative that is both illuminating and comforting. Picturing our ancient ancestors huddled together in their homes, sharing this fermented concoction, we see a scene that is not so different from our own contemporary customs of communal imbibing. It suggests a shared human experience that transcends cultures and ages, a universal thread woven through the fabric of time. The presence of tartaric acid residue inside the vessels provides tangible evidence of the age-old practice of fermentation. It is an imprint of a time long past, telling us that the ancients had mastered the complex process of turning simple ingredients into intoxicating beverages. This affirms our understanding of early civilizations as societies capable of scientific innovation and culinary creativity. The variety of ingredients detected in the residue, including honey, fruit, and different grains, suggests a level of sophistication in their brewing methods. It contradicts the often held view of our ancestors as simple beings with rudimentary skills and tastes. Instead, it paints a picture of a culture that appreciated diversity in flavors and was able to experiment with various ingredients. This stirring account also alludes to the possible social and cultural implications of alcohol consumption in ancient people's lives. The communal nature of the vessels implies that drinking was a shared activity, pointing to the possibility that alcohol may have played a significant role in societal bonding and ritualistic activities. It echoes what anthropologists and sociologists have long theorized, that alcohol, in its many forms, has been a powerful social lubricant throughout human history. Yet, this glimpse into our past doesn't only confirm what we know about history, it also poses new questions, enriching our understanding and prompting further exploration. Were these beverages consumed daily or reserved for special occasions? Did they hold any symbolic or religious significance? Were there social restrictions or etiquettes around their consumption? As the quiet night deepens, let your mind wander through the alleys of history, picturing our ancestors with their clay jars, sharing their homemade brews. Imagine their faces glowing in the flickering firelight, their voices raised in laughter and song, a mirror image of our own shared experiences. It's a soothing reminder of our interconnectedness, of our shared human journey through time. As we delve deeper into the hushed whispers of our past, we encounter the challenge of reliability. This ancient tale of our ancestors' affinity for alcohol, while captivating, is a narrative where truth, interpretation, and debate intricately intertwine. The physical evidence we have, including the pottery shards with organic residues, is compelling and widely accepted. But as with any historical narrative, there are those who ponder its veracity and interpretation. On one side, we have archaeologists, historians, and scientists who have faith in the legitimacy of these findings. They point to the robustness of the chemical analyses that detected traces of alcohol and the variety of ingredients. The residue found in these pots provides a strong, tangible link to our distant past. It's an alluring story, painted by the hands of time and etched into the fabric of our history. Doubters, on the other hand, question the certainty of these conclusions. They argue that the residue could have been contaminated over millennia, distorting the original composition. The precise nature of the beverages, their strength, and how they were consumed are all aspects that we can only speculate about based on the evidence at hand. Perhaps these ancient people were not as sophisticated in their brewing methods as we like to imagine. Perhaps they simply stumbled upon the process by chance, rather than by understanding the science behind it. These skeptics serve as a vital counterpart in our exploration of history. They remind us to approach our past with a healthy dose of curiosity and critical thinking. They encourage us to question, to challenge, and to continuously seek more evidence to support or disprove our theories. Their doubts and questions fuel the fire of scientific discovery and historical investigation. The narrative of our ancestors' fondness for fermented drinks is a delicate puzzle, pieced together by fragments of pottery, traces of organic material, and our understanding of their societal structure. It's a story that evolves as new evidence comes to light, shaping and reshaping our view of our past. As we delve into the mystery, we are reminded that history is not a static portrait, but a dynamic tapestry, constantly being woven with new threads of knowledge and understanding. While we may never know the complete truth, each discovery brings us one step closer to understanding our shared human journey. As we settle into the silence of the night, let us appreciate the beauty of this uncertainty. It's part of the allure of history, the constant quest for knowledge, the thrill of unraveling the mysteries of our past. It's a gentle reminder of our never-ending journey of discovery, a journey that spans across millennia and connects us all. One might wonder why such a unique aspect of our collective history, the ancient art of brewing and distilling, found its way into the shadows, obscured by the sands of time. The answer to this is not straightforward, but rather a complex interweaving of cultural shifts, changing ideologies, and societal taboos. Imagine for a moment the world as it was thousands of years ago. Societies were evolving, cultures were emerging and disappearing, knowledge was passed down orally, and was susceptible to the tides of change. The art of brewing was not exempt from these fluctuations. The techniques, recipes, and rituals involved with creating these ancient intoxicating beverages were often held closely by those who knew them, taught from one generation to the next. As societies changed and evolved, so did their traditions and practices. What may have been a revered skill in one era may have become irrelevant or even taboo in another. In many cultures, the production and consumption of alcohol became associated with certain religious or spiritual practices. As these practices changed or were replaced by new ones, the knowledge of brewing may have been lost along the way. In some cases, the religious significance of these beverages may have added to their mystique, keeping their production a closely guarded secret. Furthermore, the rise of more formal systems of knowledge transfer, such as writing, may have inadvertently contributed to the loss of this knowledge. As societies began to document their practices and discoveries, many everyday skills were overlooked, deemed too mundane or commonplace to record. The art of brewing, being a part of daily life for many ancient cultures, may have been one of these overlooked skills. It's also worth noting that the complexities of distillation and fermentation processes could have been misunderstood or misinterpreted over time. Without a solid understanding of the science involved, it's likely that the knowledge was prone to be distorted or forgotten. In the soft glow of our understanding, we can see how the tapestry of our history is not just made up of the threads we've found, but also the ones that have been lost or overlooked. Our ancestors' relationship with alcohol is a testament to this, a tale hidden in the fabric of our past, waiting to be discovered and understood. As we place these pieces of the puzzle together, we are reminded of the intricate and delicate nature of our shared history. Delving deeper into the symbolism of these ancient practices, we find that for many ancient societies, the act of brewing and consuming alcohol was not simply a means to an end, but rather a profound spiritual journey. The transformation of simple elements, like grains and fruits, into potent, intoxicating beverages was seen as a kind of alchemical process, a magical transformation that mirrored the mysteries of life and death, growth and decay. In this light, the brewer was not just a craftsman, but a kind of shaman, mediating between the earthly and the divine. The fruits of their labor, these intoxicating beverages, were seen as gifts from the gods, imbued with mystical properties. They were used in religious ceremonies, in rites of passage, and as offerings to the divine. They were a means of connecting with the spiritual world, of entering into a different state of consciousness, of achieving a kind of transcendence. For the people of these times, the act of getting drunk was not merely about the physical sensation, but rather, it was a deeply emotional and philosophical experience. It was a way of exploring the boundaries of the self, of understanding the mysteries of existence, of communing with the divine. And in this exploration, they found a sense of meaning, a sense of purpose, a sense of belonging. Fast forward to our modern times, and we find that our relationship with alcohol is often fraught with complexity. For some, it's a source of joy and celebration. For others, a means of escape or a source of pain. But in the grand tapestry of our shared history, we see that our ancestors viewed it in a different light. They saw in it a profound spiritual significance, a connection to the divine, a pathway to understanding the mysteries of life and death. Understanding this historical perspective can give us a new way of looking at our own relationship with alcohol. It reminds us that it's not just a product or a commodity, but a part of our shared human heritage, a testament to our collective quest for understanding and transcendence. It invites us to consider the deeper meaning and significance of our own practices, and to remember that, like our ancestors, we too are on a journey, navigating the complexities of life, seeking understanding, seeking connection, seeking transcendence. The influence of our ancestors' relationship with alcohol, their rituals and beliefs, echo down the corridors of time to reach us even today. These echoes are found in our folklore, in our art, and in our cultural practices, serving as a reminder of our shared heritage and our shared quest for understanding and transcendence. Consider the folk tales and legends that have been handed down through generations, stories filled with mythical beings and magical potions, heroes and villains, triumphs and tragedies. In many of these tales, alcohol plays a significant role. It is often portrayed as a magical elixir, a source of strength, a tool for transformation, or a gateway to the divine. In the Irish legend of Finn McCool, for instance, it is said that he gained his wisdom by drinking from a sacred well. In the Norse sagas, the gods are often depicted enjoying a feast in Valhalla, their hall of heroes, where they drink mead from the skulls of their enemies. And in the Greek myth of Dionysus, the god of wine, we see a deity who is both revered and feared, a divine being who embodies the dual nature of intoxication, the joy and the sorrow, the ecstasy and the madness. In our art, too, we find echoes of this ancient relationship. From the elaborate drinking vessels of the ancient Greeks adorned with scenes of Dionysian revelry, to the medieval tapestries depicting the feasts of kings and queens, to the modern paintings of impressionists like Manet and Renoir, who captured the vibrant energy of the Parisian café culture of the 19th century. These works of art tell a story of our shared human experience, of our quest for connection, for understanding, for transcendence. And in our cultural practices as well, we see traces of this ancient heritage, the toasting rituals that mark our celebrations, the pouring of libations in honor of the divine, the use of wine in religious ceremonies. All these practices echo the beliefs and rituals of our ancestors. They serve as a reminder of our shared history, of our shared human journey. These echoes, these traces of the past, invite us to reflect on our own relationship with alcohol, to consider its deeper meaning and significance. They remind us that, like our ancestors, we too are part of a larger story, a story that spans centuries and cultures, a story of exploration, of discovery, of connection, of transcendence. As we navigate the complexities of our own lives, these echoes serve as a guiding light, illuminating our path, reminding us of our shared human journey. As we venture into the realm of the less conventional, we encounter theories that embrace the enigmatic and the esoteric. Drawing from mystic traditions, fringe perspectives, and imaginative interpretations of historical evidence, we can glean a deeper, if somewhat abstract, understanding of our ancestors' relationship with alcohol. Let us consider, for a moment, the ancient practice of brewing beer. Some speculate that this was not merely a practical pursuit, but a mystical one, that the process of fermentation was seen as a kind of alchemy, a sacred transformation that turned the ordinary into the extraordinary, the mundane into the divine. This theory suggests that the consumption of beer was not just about physical intoxication, but spiritual elevation, an act of communion with the gods. A similar line of thinking can be found in relation to the ancient use of wine. In the Greek tradition, Dionysus, the god of wine, was also the god of ecstasy and spiritual frenzy. His followers, the Maenads, were said to enter into a state of divine madness when they drank his wine, a state of altered consciousness that allowed them to commune with the divine. This suggests that wine, in this context, was not just a social lubricant, but a spiritual tool, a gateway to the divine. Another intriguing theory posits that our ancestors may have used alcohol as a form of primitive technology, a tool for navigating the complexities of the human mind. The psychoactive properties of alcohol, this theory suggests, may have been harnessed as a means of exploring the inner realms of the psyche, of unlocking hidden depths of wisdom and understanding. These theories, while speculative, provide a fascinating lens through which to view our ancestors' relationship with alcohol. They remind us that, in the realm of the human experience, not everything can be explained by logic and reason. Sometimes we need to step into the realm of the mystical, the enigmatic, the esoteric, to truly understand the intricacies of our shared human journey. As we delve deeper into these alternative perspectives, we are reminded that the story of our ancestors' relationship with alcohol is a rich and complex tapestry, woven from threads of history, myth, and imagination. It is a story that continues to unfold, a story that invites us to explore, to question, to dream. As we reach the end of our journey, we find ourselves standing at the crossroads of history and mystery. It is here, amidst the echoes of our ancestral past, that we are left to ponder the intoxicating allure of alcohol that has bewitched humanity since its earliest days. In the quiet corners of our imagination, we can see the flickering embers of an ancient fire, hear the rhythmic pounding of a primitive drum, feel the pulsating energy of a community gathered in celebration. We can taste the raw, earthy sweetness of the first brews, sense the giddy euphoria of the first sips, experience the heady rush of the first intoxications. And as we immerse ourselves in these visions, we can't help but wonder, what was it like, those first moments of intoxication? What worlds opened up? What visions unfurled? What mysteries were revealed? How did our ancestors interpret these experiences, these altered states of consciousness? Did they see them as divine revelations, as spiritual awakenings, as glimpses into the very heart of existence? We can only speculate, for the sands of time have long since erased the answers. But in the quiet stillness of our reflections, we can feel the echoes of these ancient experiences resonating within us. For we are not just the consumers of history, but its carriers. The stories of our ancestors are etched into our DNA, inscribed in our collective memory. And so, as we raise our glasses in toast, we are not just celebrating the present moment, but honoring a tradition that spans the ages, a ritual that connects us to the very roots of our humanity. As we let the lingering notes of the story fade into the quiet hum of the night, we are left with a question, soft as a whisper, yet as profound as the deepest night. What if, in the heart of every glass, in the soul of every sip, there lies a portal to the sublime, a gateway to the divine? It's a question that invites us not to answer, but to dream, to imagine, to explore. And as we drift into the tender embrace of sleep, we carry this question with us, a gentle invitation to dream the dreams of our ancestors, to wander the paths they once trod, to dance in the intoxicating rhythms of their ancient celebrations. In the dreamy silence that follows, let us ponder. What mysteries might our own glasses hold? What divine revelations might our own sips reveal? Could it be that the echoes of the divine are not so distant after all, but rather just a glass away? Thanks for listening. This has been Soothing History for Sleep. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to follow us wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you'd like to support the show, subscribe to the Forbidden Knowledge Network on Patreon. Subscribe now